Howdy, folks, and welcome back to the next episode of Apostate Analysis, where we look at heretics fucking trying to defend their religion. With me today is Zero,
Hello.
the Chin,
Hello.
and Uncle Romesh.
Yeah, hello.
Alright, folks. I'm gonna stop with this accent now.
That's some next level. You know who. Can't say the name publicly.
Can't say no.
Relates to Ben Tender, so.
So
Quite
today,
a pop culture reference.
so today, guys, on the Word of the Day channel, we're gonna be looking at a video called "Good Yiff versus Bad Yiff," and this is quite an interesting video. Me and
It's quite a banger, might I add.
get that colloquialism. Good. Yes. So
Yeah,
this
my
video
boy.
is me and Zero have watched it, but for the Chin and Uncle Romesh, this is going to be completely new.
A fresh reaction.
Indeed, we really just wanted to share this with the community at large. It's just so good. Okay, in the name of man, let us begin.
Howdy, how are y'all doing? Oh, it's cancer. Ooh. Hello everyone, it is Genesis back for another wondiferous video. So I've talked earlier in my series about
It's
Yiff.
interesting
I have
how
come
he's
out
got
against
the
Yiff
pictures
earlier
of
saying
Jesus
Yo,
and
what's
the
that?
Pope
bad
in the
and how it's
background.
distortion of truth and
And
how
iDubbbz and
it
Filthy
pushes you away
Frank,
from
classic.
Yo, is there better quality? Because I can't really see it.
Um,
It's just like this. I can't see his little diagram.
I don't believe there's much we can do.
Yeah.
no, I
Okay,
don't think
whatever.
there is.
knowing what sex
You're not
is
missing
really
out on
about,
much.
and
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, I do read it. I'm hypocritical in saying that earlier. I would have actually
Wait,
deleted that video.
pause. So he says that he doesn't like Yiff, and then he says that he looks at Yiff.
He has to
I like his
study it.
animations. They look
I know.
really
It's
touchy.
very 2012 feel.
Man, bless
Be
him.
great.
Man, come upon him and rape his
Yo,
butthole,
is that our
please.
background? You see, like behind those pictures, is that our background?
Plagiarism.
Oh,
Heretic,
Oh.
burn him at the stake.
He shall be smited.
I like how there's a picture of Jesus and one of Filthy Frank.
And
Right
there's one
next
of
to him.
Them two are
iDubbbz.
very similar.
There's one of Saint. Who is that? Saint Mark. Ooh, and then there's one of some random furries as well.
Damn.
I like how
Just for
I like
good
how
taste.
his persona has the crucifix like in the middle.
It's
Yeah,
quite a
interesting.
statement. It's quite a statement.
Very symbolic. Now we're spending
And
too
his
much.
his name is Genesis, linking
Genesis.
back to the Bible.
Ooh, if only he was a servant of man such as us. Right, let us
If
continue.
Because that video is really anger driven, but I don't censor anything I do. If I do something wrong in my past, you need to know about it, hence why I keep up all my old shit videos, before my renovation when I went to cheap ass animation as you currently see. However, I do have very strong standards when looking at Yiff.
Ooh,
Now,
he's got good
regardless of what I
standards.
do,
Strong.
ultimately, pornography is wrong. Why is pornography
Yo,
wrong?
what?
Definition.
Yo, I am,
Quite the contradictory.
Good.
thing to
bruh.
say.
Yo,
Oh no. Oh.
I am confused by this creature.
Of course, we must look at this from the mannist perspective. And, of course, this statement is blatantly incorrect.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's,
of
it's
course.
quite an error.
Mr. Man would never agree to this. Like, this is one of the sacred forms of media.
Yeah, this is
As I
strongly
put
against
it.
anything that man stands for.
It comes from the ecumenical tradition, does it not?
Oh, it does
Yep.
indeed. It does
Yes.
indeed.
Well, it's not a commandment of man, it's a implied commandment.
Mm,
Indeed.
Yes.
that is
Let's
truly
continue.
correct.
We're not gonna get through this in the correct amount of time if we don't like hurry up.
Mm.
Definition: printed or visual material containing the explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feelings. In other words, Yiff's
Okay.
purpose to make you come. I will say that I do not read Yiff specifically for that purpose. Yes, I do like it for the
Ah, he's a
However,
connoisseur.
I definitely look for emotional
He's there for the
attachment
quality,
and
for the
Emotional
parallels
plot.
in my own romantic life.
The
Ooh.
fuck?
I see Yiff as being quite important in that way because it is influential to myself and other furries I know. Because say what you want, things you read will influence you. And if Yiff poses this false idea of what sex is, what it does, or what it can lead to, then it's actually very dangerous and it's very wrong. Now, what do I mean by this? So, we have our drives, we have our lusts, we sin, we make poor decisions.
It's
That's
quite
part
a
of our
thought
free will.
process.
However, we can gain something from Yiff, believe it or not, and that gain is an accurate representation of acceptable
No.
sexuality in
I
a
like that
dream.
picture.
Now, Mondi, the Yiff that I'm addressing now is common Yiff.
The
not
term
fetish
bestiality
specific,
comes to
like scat
mind.
or bestiality or vor or cub Yiff or fupa or whipping or BDSM or whatever. That's not of concern in this video. What is of concern is Yiff that is most widely circulated, just common sex. That's just it. So there are features of good and bad Yiff. Good Yiff being that which is true to what a sexual relationship is, that which doesn't leave you feeling scummy after you
The
look
music
at it.
is not helping.
Yeah, it makes it.
Number
Good
one,
year.
there has to be love. If there is no love,
Oh.
that is probably the greatest lie. Sex must be an act of love.
On the contrary,
Yeah.
objection. Mr.
Cookie paper.
Mr. Man makes love to all the children, yet they don't have to love him back.
With
It's
or
involuntary.
without.
With or without.
He
He needs
sacrificed
no
himself.
permission.
Mm.
He gives his love to them.
Permission
They
is-
never give back.
Permission is outside the realm of reality for him.
Mm. So,
Indeed.
from a mannist perspective, we are completely opposed to everything he said so far.
Yeah, quite disgusting.
Repulsive creature. Anyway, let's continue.
Respect, trust, joy. If nothing else, it must be love. There must be love within.
Yeah, love of
the
Mr. Man to the
connection. Now,
child.
number two, it must be
Yeah,
love and
wholesome.
respect towards each partner. In other words, they're not in it to come. They're in it to come, and because they love this person, they want to be with this person, they respect this person, they trust this person, they want to give themselves over to this person. In a way, it's kind of a self-sacrifice because you give up your
Wow.
body in a sense. Now, number three,
Ooh.
probably the most important.
Links to the
Wait,
Bible again.
Just to point out, the only sacrifice that should be made is giving your body to man.
Mm.
All other sacrifices
Exactly.
are obsolete.
All other
Irrelevant.
All other sacrifices are redundant. There is only savior through man,
No
and
one
by
else.
performing man's acts. I must interject.
The only sacrifices we
Yeah.
can make
Oh.
are for man and man only.
That is
Yes.
right and
Praise
just.
be to man.
Praise be.
Praise be.
Man volt.
Man vote.
Feature is it has to be
Man
truthful,
vote.
meaning that it shows the good things that come from a healthy sexual relationship, and it shows the pain of abusing sex as a coming mechanism. Now, the fourth
Coming
one's
mechanism.
optional. I like this one in particular, but if you
Hmm.
can,
Yes,
within
the
the
coming
comic,
of
show the
man.
partners in a committed relationship. If it shows nothing beforehand and it just kind of leads into a small plot line of a page or two and then leads into sexual activity, we can make our own assumptions beforehand and with that ambiguity. You don't have to show them building up a relationship till then, like when they first meet to their first date and yada yada yada. We can make those assumptions. Unless, of course, the beginning of your comic says, I just met that guy at the gas station, I'm going to suck his cock. Then I'm going to say, no, bad. So what are examples of
Whoa,
good
whoa.
Yiff?
That's
Good Yiff
a
would be things
bold
like Motion of the Ocean, Only If You Love, Only If You Know, After School,
Nice
My
pictures.
Mate, At Spear Point, Friday, etc. All these show care and sympathy towards the other. they all show a sign.
Sorry, just as a little bonus, if we get more than our average like ratio, we will get the Chin to do a dramatic reading of one of those books.
Nice. Yeah, but
One of those sacrilege books.
Yes, I will agree to do that if we get above average like goals on this video.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll possibly, if we get double our like, we'll make it ASMR just for you,
Nice.
sleeping people out there.
Praise be to man. Praise the Chin.
Praise be.
Praise,
Praise
be
be.
to that, definitely.
Definitely. Okay,
of committing to one another. Like, even though motion of the ocean takes place all within a day, they're still committed to one another and are willing to stay with one another, even though we will be separated for quite a while. And same kind of goes for the other ones. The other ones don't show a large build of the relationship, but they hint at the relationship implicitly and at the respect towards one another and the care towards one another. I mean, at Spear Point, Linus, who's the main big guy, the dominant one, his whole concern is the safety of
He's
others.
clearly in depth.
I like the
with
picture.
these.
Very explicitly before any sexual things happen, so it creates this connection between the characters, which is really good. So those are definitely the features of good Yiff. Then there are the features of bad
It's quite
Yiff.
hard
This
to
is the
get
stuff
through.
where I see these things
It is.
immediately. I exit out of Tumblr or Candid or wherever the hell I'm on, and I just try to look at something happy to make myself not feel so bad. I know that's kind of an SJW thing of me to say, but go fuck yourself. So one is it portrays sex as a
Whoa.
loveless coming mechanism
Whoa,
with
Only
no
uncalled
Mr.
negative
for.
Man
emotional
should fuck us.
repercussions. Unless you have completely disconnected yourself from your
course.
heart, in other words, you've completely taken out all emotional rationale and you think solely with your dick, you will have really, really, really serious.
It is said though that our dicks are a second head, are they not? And for man, in manism, the second head shall be used the most.
Indeed.
Almost the backup brain.
No, the primary brain.
Primary brain, yes.
Yes.
The central nervous system pales in comparison.
Problems when you sleep around or sleep with someone you've just met. Stories that portray this consist of stuff like embarrassment, more than two people within the sexual exchange, exchanging sex for favors like prostitution or blackmail. Hitting it and quitting it is another really bad one. So the number two is they degrade one another. There's no respect. The whole idea is you're a wet hole. I want to stick my thing in you. That's it. When I'm done, fuck off. That's a good example of number two. And then number three, and this one makes me very angry because this is something that's even glorified in real life, in real gay communities, which I find unbelievably deplorable. This isn't for all gay communities. In fact, I don't even think it's for most gay communities, but it's for enough for me to see. And that is glorifying sleeping around with many.
Oof. I think when I first watched this, I severely misinterpreted because I thought that he said that being gay was deplorable.
I thought that too.
Their ears are not working.
Perhaps man and release too much
Malfunction.
fluid in them. Okay, let's continue.
People. So examples of bad Yiff would be anything with sea salt, so anything by Red Rusker, Artie's Bottomless Pit, $500, Fruits of Orient, Burning Curiosity, and Acquired Taste, Going Down in Glory, and these all.
I like how he can list them off the top of his fucking mind.
Unless he has a script for the video,
He's
which
just got so many levels of hypocrisy. But of
I
course,
like how he
if only
listed.
he accepted man, then we'd be,
if only.
if only.
You see, he had less examples of good Yiff than he had of bad Yiff. Just comes to show what he actually likes.
Indeed.
Yes.
All have one of the three features as a dominant premise or a dominant theme within the comic, showing sex as you're here as a wet hole so I can dump my load on you. When I'm done with you, leave. I don't care anything about you. I'm using you. You are not a person to me. You are an object. I care nothing of you but what your body is. This is what is known as the lowest form of
Isn't it
friendship.
curious
friendship
how
in terms of
his
Aristotle,
persona?
the utilitarian friendship, where you are there.
A light bulb moment.
You beat me to pausing it there. First of all, I must say that Aristotle isn't a real person, because the world was only created when Mr. Man came to our school.
It's just an implanted memory that didn't get erased when Mr. Man invented
That
the world.
again creates
An
interesting.
error in his judgment.
No, because Mr. Man implanted this in the human. So isn't it the same as it happening, even if it's just like a collective delusion?
It is the same.
Yes. Therefore, yes. Therefore, yes.
Therefore, yes.
Indeed.
Therefore, man is great.
Praise be to man.
Praise be!
Because you are useful to me. And that is the lowest kind of a relationship you can have with a person that is somewhat positive. And I don't even think that's positive. Because all those relationships, once you're of no use, they doom to fail, and then you leave that other person hurt. Really, really, really rarely is the person not hurt. And I mean really rarely. Then there is the highest form of relationship in Aristotle's definitions being the virtuous relationship. Virtue being faith, hope, love, fortitude, justice, temperance, while also seeking a common good. In other words, you don't want good for just yourself, but you want it for the other person. And that's another really strong feature of good Yiff, because it portrays that. Now, mind you, there are some that fall in the middle. There are some that share both good and bad traits, so they don't fall in either category, and those are a little hard. It just depends on which one
Really
of the
give
features you find the
examples.
best or worst that lets you know if it's a good comic or not. Like, for me, the ones that fall in the middle are Student Model, Marty Comics. I've seen it before, A Royal Tale, Going Public, etc. Those are good examples of stuff that fall in the middle because they'll either show both parts of good and bad, or they will show none.
The music is
So
quite
to conclude,
interesting.
mind you, I'm not saying you are a
It goes
bad
from, like,
person for
classical
liking
to,
everything
like,
bad. You
fucking-
like it
I
as
don't
much
even know
as you
what that
want.
is.
That's your choice.
Classical
Am I
to
gonna agree with you and
cheese.
say I like it too for these reasons? No, I'm gonna say the opposite. I'm gonna say I dislike them for these reasons. I do believe that if you think these bad Yiff comics are an example of what sex really is, you're a complete moron. And you've never experienced the real world except from your basement or your.
I just find it kind of ironic how a furry is kind of saying this is not
Saying
what
this.
real sex
Orthodox
is.
Christian
Like
furry.
they have a
I'm pretty
accent
sure
used
he's a
to say that.
Catholic. I think due to the presence of the Pope.
Mm.
Quite an unflattering image of the Pope as well.
I really like the Persona's color scheme of shit brown and piss yellow.
You
And
know,
then a sort
I
of
think
mix,
he's,
like in the on the belly.
It suits
I think
the
he's-
dumpster truck aesthetic.
You see, I think he's the angel Gabriel with the fucking cross on his chest.
Mm,
He's come to tell us.
He's come to enlighten us.
as a furry.
However, of course, manism is the only true religion.
Indeed.
That is
Yes.
obvious.
Indeed.
Of course, definitely.
Phone or whatever bubble you live in. You do not know the kind of pain that comes with sleeping with somebody, knowing that they don't love you or care about you. You feel used. You feel like an object.
And you
which
do.
completely goes against, your own respect for yourself.
He sounds
your
like he's
respect for your
speaking from
temple.
experience.
Now, I also will say, I don't condone violence, but if you were the kind of gay person in real life that does sleep around and does glorify and say that because you are gay, you do these things, that what you've inherited biologically makes you sleep around with so many people, and that it's all by natural urge and you don't control yourself. To put it in the words of iDubbbz,
some people are gay. Get over it. If you wear this shit seriously, you need to be curb stomped. Fuck off.
Now, I will say my
quoting
my opinions that
idols.
help me to
I like how he
design
quotes
these
idols.
From
standards are based on
Aristotle to Idos.
I know.
The greatest downfall within 2 minutes.
Quoting iDubbbz, one of the most intellectual things a human can do.
Mm.
Very high IQ
He
level.
didn't.
IQ,
He didn't
IQ
even quote
approximately
him. He
5,000.
didn't even
He just
quote
played
him.
the
Yeah, he
video.
played it. Mm. All right, let's continue. This video is quite long.
on a couple of things. First is my own anecdotal evidence, my own experiences, my own feelings, things that I've experienced, things that I've seen, how people have been affected by the bad features, how people have been affected by the good features. So that's just what I witnessed. And then there is actual, Christian morality within this. Hence the, and again, another trigger warning since you guys are apparently really triggered by religion. Actually, I don't have a lot of people in my comments that are super duper triggered by religion, so that's actually a good thing. But to continue, teaching of Christian morality, first is more than two partners. If you've read the Old Testament, you will know anything with more than two people in terms of sex or marriage does.
If you've read the Old Testament, it
Oh man,
instructs
I
you how
love
to
reading that book. It's my
It's just such a
favorite.
distortion on the manuscript.
I know. There's no slaves in manism.
Mm.
There's
Well,
only
There's
there's
only
only
there's only
servants of man.
there's only involuntary sexual partners of man.
Indeed, indeed.
Indeed.
Of
Not
course,
sex
that's
slaves.
superior to anything in his said Old Testament that he speaks of.
Indeed.
Couldn't have put it in better words.
Now, I just want to say that this is really deplorable what this guy is doing. Not only is he being a hypocrite and opposing man, but he is spreading false rumors about how the correct manner to live one's life is. Wouldst thou agree?
Indeed, of course.
Indeed, brothers and
Straight.
man, let us finish the video.
Does not
Yes.
work well. Very famous example, Abraham with Sarah and Hagar. Of course, Solomon building temples for all these wives of different gods, which led him to break the covenant with God that David built, so on and so forth. There are a lot of Old Testament examples on why monogamy works and polygamy doesn't. Now, sleeping around with two people, even outside of a relationship, doesn't work because you begin to see yourself more and more and more.
Well, I want to say he is right in one thing. There should be monogamy for man.
Monogamy.
One should. Yes, yes.
Monogamy.
Yes,
Sex
definitely.
outside
should
of
only-
man serves no purpose.
Serves no point. Yep. Indeed.
Indeed. Although it is not forbidden, man encourages his children to sleep around.
It's not bad.
It's not
Spreading the
bad.
word.
It's useless.
It's evangelizing.
Good say.
So long as you do it in the name of man, then it is fine. Everything is permissible in the name of man. Praise be to man. Praise be.
Praise be.
Praise
Manum
be.
sanctum.
Praise
Manum
be,
sanctum. Manum sanctum. Okay, let's continue.
As an object because that's how people treat you. Say what you want, but how people treat you is eventually how you're going to think of yourself. Now, if you say you're polyamorous, again, refer to the Old Testament and tell me at what point did anything besides monogamy really work?
Ooh, in
I wanna say
birthing
that-
Isaac.
I want to say that the Old Testament is full of polygamy. Actually,
It
Um,
is.
let's take for example the fucking trillion concubines that anybody in the Old Testament kept.
That's a good point.
It is.
Yes,
Yes.
as they're referred to as handmaidens.
Quote unquote handmaidens.
Praise
Praise man. Man.
me.
Manum
Praise man.
sanctum.
Man.
Manum sanctum. Manum sanctum.
Manum
Manum sanctum. Manum sanctum.
Alright, guys, and that is my whole thought process on Yiff. If I made you mad or triggered you,
Strong
I
way to
apologize.
end.
That is not my intent. I am just making this video because I want to express how I feel and see if other people agree. Maybe I am mad. Maybe I am just totally out of it or just weird for thinking these things.
Yes,
Prove me
you
wrong.
are.
I love you all so much. I hope
Was
you
that every
enjoy this
question?
video. Just to remind you that the art contest ends this
Ooh,
coming
art.
Friday, which is the
Ooh.
27th.
Ooh,
if
I
I'm not
wonder what kind of
Who's
mistaken.
gonna
submissions.
Get in your
submit?
art. Have a wonderful day. God bless.
Ooh,
Peace.
man
Love
bless,
you.
on the
Bye-bye.
contrary.
Man bless, man bless.
Okay, so
What is that?
that's
What the fuck is
okay. So
Pope Genesis the Furry.
that's okay. So that's the end of that. What are
no.
our final thoughts? I'll start
Guys, will
with
we
you, the chin.
subscribe? Will we subscribe?
Ooh, that's a tough one. He is a heretic, although
He does provide a good chuckle and giggle, though.
He does need support.
He needs man in his life.
okay. So
Good.
let's get our concluding statements. Just our final thoughts before we wrap up this 26-minute long video so far.
It could have been longer.
It could have been a lot.
longer. It could have been a lot longer.
It could have been 40 minutes.
Easily.
Okay, so I'll start with you, the chin. Oh, great chin bearer, the mighty.
Yes, I think he's very misled, and he doesn't really know what he's on about.
Yeah, that seems quite evident.
Yes.
He's
Now,
puzzled.
I'll let you go next, Uncle Romesh.
Well, I just want to say just how much of a distortion the Bible is. You see, in the desert, the Israelites were fed 40 years with bread. But this is nothing compared to what man has done for us.
Yes.
He has fed us with his seed for eons.
Yes. Okay, I shall go to you now, Zero.
I believe there's not much to be said. He's quite a disgrace. And I believe that last image of him begging for like, shares, and subscribes, with him donning the famous Pope attire, with his infamous piss and shit colours, it's quite a stark contrast.
The papal garments are quite a sight to behold. I just find how he's a furry, but he's got high moral standards, which I think is,
it's quite a
it's
contrast.
to be admired.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers.
He's
And
a
you kinda
very
need, like,
layered.
you need
Perhaps
to,
a
like,
few contradicting
process
ones.
this all.
Yes, yes. So with that, we're going to end the video. Oh, and yes, disgrace this heretic. Yes. Manum sanctum, manum sanctum, manum sanctum, manum sanctum, manum sanctum.